A group in Australia paid a lab to test 20 sunscreens. They checked the number on the front of each bottle. 16 missed it. One came back at 4. That bottle said 50 plus. So the internet decided that sunscreen is a scam. I think the opposite is true. And by the end of this, you will know exactly who worked that out. Nobody made them do this. A consumer group called CHO Ice bought 20 sunscreens off the shelf in Australia, then paid an accredited lab to test every one of them. 10 volunteers, real skin, real lamps, nobody was obliged to check. Here is the worst of it and the best of it on one page. A zinc bottle sold as 50 plus came back at 4. A wet skin cream sold as 50 plus came back at 72. A body lotion sold as 50 came back at 56. Same lab, same day, same test. Now, the 4 is strange enough that Kois did not print it straight away, which is the detail I want you to hang on to. They took a different batch. They sent it to a whole other lab in Germany. It came back at 5. That step is the whole story in one move. It is what you do when the bathroom scale says you gained a stone overnight. You do not post it. You go and stand on a different scale first. The scale runs out where a lab does not, because a lab writes down what it did, and you can go and read it. So what did the rest of them do? 2 bottles cleared the bar on every count. 1 is a wet skin cream, 1 is a body lotion, tested the same way on the same day by the same people as the one that failed, so the test works. Now you're probably thinking the obvious thing. If 16 of 20 missed their number, why trust any of it? Hold that thought. It is a very sane wrong idea, and I will come back to it at the end. So what is an SPF number really? It is not a thing the cream has, like weight or color. It is a score the cream got, on one test, on one day, from one lab. Think of a school report. The grade is real, and it tells you something true. But it came from one exam, marked by one person, on one morning. Sit it again, and the mark can move. That is where the comparison stops, by the way. A pupil can revise. A bottle cannot. In Australia and New Zealand, that exam has a pass mark that surprises almost everybody. If the front of the bottle says 50 plus, the lab result has to come back at 60 or more. The plus is a claim of room to spare. Hold that number, 60. It is about to explain why 2 groups looked at the same 20 bottles and could not agree on how many of them failed. If you already knew that rule, skip to the chapter marked what the brand did next. Two referees can watch the same match and put different scores in the book. Not because one of them is lying, because they were asked to judge 2 different things. That is as far as the referees go though, because these 2 were not even watching at the same moment. This is the headline that went round the world. 16 of 20 did not meet the claim printed on the front of the bottle. That is what Kois measured, and it is right. The watchdog counted 18, same 20 bottles, same lab results, and a number 2 higher, which sounds like a contradiction until you remember the 60. And note what the watchdog does not do. It does not run these tests itself. It reads reports the firms send in, from accredited labs rather than its own. 2 of the 4 I just called clear are the reason. A kid's lotion sold as 50 plus came in at 52. A body cream sold as 50 plus came in at 51. Both beat the 50 on the front of the bottle. Neither of them beat the 60. So both counts are true. One asks a simple question. Did the bottle keep its own promise? The other asks whether it cleared the bar the country sets for that claim, which is a higher bar and a different question. A story that hands you one and hides the other is not telling you more, it is telling you less. Put yourself in the brand's chair for a second. A magazine has just told the country your product scored 4. You are holding a lab report of your own that says it is fine. What do you do on Monday? They did not argue it out in public. They paid for more tests at several outside labs. 8 tests. The lowest came back at 4. The highest came back at 64. Read that spread again because I did not believe it either. 4 to 64 on one product. A cream that behaves like that is not a cream you can put a number on at all. A watch that runs 10 minutes slow is annoying. A watch that runs 10 minutes slow, then right, then an hour fast is not a watch at all. That is the difference between a low score and this. Drop the watch there though because nobody was hurt by a slow watch. So they pulled it off the shelves that week, and they said they were sorry that it had fallen short of the standard they hold themselves to. No lawyers, no long thread, no video. A buyer paid for a test. A lab ran it. A second lab checked it. The brand tested again and pulled the thing. Then the watchdog published the place where it scored things differently. That is 4 groups, and not one of them is in charge of the others. So where did the story go next? Some people read the 4, decided the whole shelf was a lie, and said so, which is when a research team went and counted what people are actually posting about sunscreen. They pulled the most watched sunscreen posts on one app, 971 of them, then they read every single one and marked down what it said. Look at the first number. Nearly 9 posts in 10 told people to wear it. The scare content that feels like it is everywhere turns out to be about 1 post in 100. But the few that went the other way did much better, and this is the finding. More likes, more shares, more comments. The team was careful about how it said this, so I will be too. They measured that the gap is real. They did not measure how big it is. It is a street with one loud house party on it. 99 homes are quiet and you walk past every one of them. You still go home and say the street is wild. The street ends there because a party stops at dawn and a post does not. The team put it plainly in the paper, and I think the line is worth keeping. Read it. Then go and read your feed. One more from that count, and it is the one that stuck with me. Only 6 posts in 100 said a single word about skin cancer. Most sunscreen talk is selling you a look, not a risk. Remember the reasonable wrong idea from the start. That 16 failures means you should stop? Here is the answer. The group that found all of this wrote one more line, and it is the line nobody quoted. A bottle that tests at 30 or even 20 is still doing a great deal of work. A coat that is not quite as warm as the label says is still a coat. You do not walk out into the cold in a shirt because the coat let you down by a bit. The coat stops there though. Half a coat is half as warm. A sunscreen at 20 is not half of 50. It still stops most of what lands on you. And the thing that costs people cover is not the brand on the bottle. It is how thin they spread it and how rarely they go back over it. That part is yours, and it always was. So here is the other thing that happened this year. It went past almost everybody. The same slow, dull system that caught the bottle at 4 also cleared something new, and it took its time about that as well. Bemotrizinol is a sun filter, an ingredient that soaks up light before it reaches you. America added it to its approved list of sunscreen ingredients on the 9th of June. Then it became law on the 9th of August. Those are 2 events, and they are not the same event. Plenty of write-ups picked whichever date suited the headline and called it the day the thing was approved. And the weight behind it is the real story here. This is the first new sun filter that America has let onto that list in more than 20 years. 20 years is a long queue. It is a child born the year that list last changed, leaving home before it changed again. That is the queue, and I will leave it there, because a queue moves, and this one mostly did not. One thing it does not mean: you cannot go and buy it. A filter being allowed is not a bottle being on a shelf. Firms have to build it in, test it, label it, and ship it, and every one of those steps takes months. Which brings me back to the bottle that said 50 and gave you 4. That is not the reason to stop. That is what checking looks like when it works. Somebody bought it, somebody tested it, somebody pulled it. Keep wearing yours. We keep a page for every sun filter with what it covers and how steady it is. It is free and there is no sign up. And if you want the thing this episode did not have room for, the Bemotrizinol page is the one to read.